Of course, I'm a gamer and I played games. And this year, I played a lot of them. So as is tradition for every year, I'm gonna rank every game I played in 2024 and then put them in a bullshit list that means nothing to anyone other than me. And quickly, I'd like to apologize for changing the name of this video every single year, but if I title it this, no one's gonna watch it. All right, enough of the chatter. Let's go ahead and arbitrarily rank these games. But make sure you stick around until the very end because we have lots to talk about today. Before we get into the real meat and potatoes of this video, I'd like to quickly go through a few DNFs that happened this year, each of which for differing reasons. Of course, not to say that any of these games are bad, but these are games that I may come back to in the future, but have shelved for now. Ghost of Tsushima for me was a pretty fun game to start, but with a super slow moving story and lack of mission variety, this game drifted apart from me expeditiously. I did love the combat, especially on lethal difficulty, but that could not save me from making it a little over halfway through this title. Death Stranding is a very well-documented case of you either love it or you hate it, and I fall into the I f***ing hated most of the gameplay, but the story was surprisingly creative and interesting. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it enough to keep watching 40-minute cutscenes every half hour. I am so f***ing sorry, and as a Pokemon fan, I feel like I failed a lot of you, but after 20 years of titles and my increasingly limited amount of time to play video games, I don't want to spend 40 hours playing a game I played what feels like a million times. Mostly because I want to play this game on original hardware, and I'm not a millionaire yet. Sure, the story is probably awesome, and there are some banger tracks here, but at this point in my life, I'm okay with just watching a story synopsis and leaving it at that. Persona 3 Reload is the game that I am most likely to return to just because of how fun it was to start, but I had just beaten another turn-based JRPG that will turn up on this list, so I, unfortunately, needed a break from the genre and just never picked this back up. And with that, that covers the DNF, so now it's time to get ranking.
Guys, what is your favorite? Huggy Wuggy Chic, Skewy Blue, Jumbo Sauce, Banban?
I sat for a while in purgatory trying to figure out if I even need to include this game on the list, but after a few minutes of deliberation, this is technically a game that I played and completed in 2024. Other than the memes that are trapped in my mind like a horrible disease, this game is nothing other than Unity asset garbage with shallow gameplay and ugly graphics. This game pisses me off the most though because there are so many games that could appeal to kids that I hate how they feel like they're relegated to this when they could simply be playing Fortnite and having much more fun.
Oh god, there's two! What? How did they? Oh my god, you stupid f***ing idiots.
If I had to describe my year of gaming, I'd honestly go with year of the streamer bait games. Normally a game like this would have flown completely under my radar and I wouldn't have even blinked an eye. But because of an Olympic-style YouTube event that I'm taking part in, hosted by my friend King Cryptor, I played a lot of cheaply made games this year. And I understand why kids would even like this game, but isn't Fall Guys nearly the same game? And also a lot better? I don't know. I kind of felt like I was doing something morally sinister by playing a game with the sole goal of shitting on kids. Plus, the gameplay is mid and it looks like dog cheeks.
You never know what will prove to be useful. That's why I always carry around this crank.
Damn it, Leon. Please promise me you will not waste your time stealing from the locals and searching for rare treasures.
I also got this cool golden mask.
Leon!
Save Room is probably my equivalent of playing Suika game, and you know what? It's not all that bad. Yeah, it's just a simple puzzle game inspired by the organizational aspects of Resident Evil 4, but if you've ever played Resident Evil 4, you know that this is one of the best aspects of the game and makes for a mindless little puzzle game that I'm sure your grandma would love to play in the living room while watching Fox News.
We can't talk about the bit in front of Kyler though.
Oh, it doesn't. I have no choice. I'm f***ing stuck whether you talk about it in front of me or not. It's a f***ing burden I bear. Rounds is a roguelike platform fighter and is also the first and only roguelike game I've ever played. I didn't mind this, and it makes for a really fun party fighting game that has really cool comeback mechanics. Other than that though, I don't have much to say about this game other than I had an alright time playing it and probably wouldn't say no to playing it if one of my friends asked to play it after knocking back a couple of Yingling flights.
Wait, no. There we go. No.
I'm done. I can't do this.
No! Kai! No!
Chained Together is probably the most Bennett Foddy platformer that isn't made by Bennett Foddy. As rage-inducing as this game is, I kinda liked how much teamwork and chemistry it required to play. I thought this game would be even more brutal, but thanks to some charitable checkpoints, this game reminds me more of the Impossible game than it does of getting over it. If you and your friends are looking to strangle each other over a party game, play Mario Party. But then afterwards, try this one out.
And you gonna have to deal with it. You come in here stinking, breathe it in. Oh, I'm so sorry about that, ma'am. How you do? I'm a big fan.
These games always feel like a spiritual successor to games like Papa's Pizzeria, and I have a weird soft spot for this game because of that. Yeah, sure, it looks like the inside of an armadillo sphincter, but it's good for some mindless gameplay that you can put on in the background of a great Discord call.
Easy. Now you try. First, get a job. Patrick, that's a hobby.
Yes.
Now that we're mostly out of the streamer bait game portion of the list, we're gonna talk about my honest feelings about Shin Megami Tensei 4. As I mentioned earlier, I don't play all that many turn-based games anymore just because of how slow they typically are. And you know what? This game was pretty fast, but still took me the same amount of time to beat that a normal game of Pokemon would, and I even copped out early and got the bad ending. It's hard for me not to compare this game to its Persona 5 cousin because of the similarities between the two, and the fact that they are the only two Mega 10 games I've ever completed. And honestly, Persona just blows this game out of the water in so many ways that it's actually f***ing insane. I do give this game credit for doing a lot being on the 3DS and for having one of the most banger soundtracks I've ever had the pleasure of listening to, but my issues with this game are completely gameplay related. As far as the game goes, yeah, it's hard and takes a lot of getting used to, especially in the beginning when you have a very limited amount of demons to work with. This isn't bad for me at all because I love intentionally difficult games, but where this game struggles is with the party system. No one is more happy than I am that I have 4 demons to work with, but why did they just randomly assign a 5th party member that I can't control? Like, f***ing hell, Walter, the f***ing Minotaur is weak to fire, so stop using f***ing Aggie! Gah! It makes it even worse when this game runs on a weakness system similar to Persona 5 called Smirk, and this is the meta for winning battles. Stack up smirks, get critical hits to win the game. But when you have this stupid 5th party member just giving the enemy's smirk like it's candy, it makes the battle so defensive that I feel like I'm fighting with my team more than working with them. This game feels like a bad night at a casino for me with the party member RNG, and then the demon conversation RNG. Like, listen, I love how unpredictable the demons are, but I'd rather the demons were just put off from me because of a bad choice like in Persona, rather than just deciding via a f***ing dice roll if they want to be my friend or not. I wanted to like this game so badly because my friends love it dearly, but god damn, this game was a slog for me and is probably one I will never return to.
I got you. Oh, I died on the staircase.
Help, help. Hey, help, help. Hey.
You can pick me up now.
Good job. Hey, good job.
Okay, you can pick me up now.
This is easily one of the weirdest games Nintendo has brought to the Switch, considering it didn't release super long ago, was received pretty negatively, and has another game in the series that is much older and less accessible. This game still has faults in its level system where it takes you out of the game every time to debrief and provide you with a new mission, and it absolutely killed this game. I think the charm of Luigi's Mansion comes from exploring the environment, and when you're constantly taking me out of said environment, I feel like I have to re-explore the area because of how the other games in the series are. I mean, it's visually pleasing, and when you're in the levels, it's still fun, but I think this game could have used a redesign from the ground up. The best part of this game is the Scarescraper multiplayer, which could have been its own game and would probably still be better than base Luigi's Mansion 2. I recently ranked every Mario Party game on my channel, so most of you are probably aware of my feelings on this game, but to reiterate myself, I don't mind this game. It's actually pretty fun. It takes the classic Mario Party formula and brings it back to its mostly former glory. Most of my gripes with this game are pretty minor, but it has a lot to do with the speed and the style of the game. I still hate the buddy system a lot, but it is still less broken than Super Mario Party, but any game is an upgrade over that one. This game is still fun for its chaotic and ruthless gameplay, and this is the definitive Switch Mario Party entry. Of course I played the original Bloons games, but for most people this is the best and most definitive version of this game, and after playing it, I can see why. This game is the perfect turn your brain off game and even includes multiplayer, so that you and your friends can slow down your PC to insanely slow speeds despite having a NASA supercomputer. Not much to say about this one other than I like this game a lot, funny enough, and will still be down to play it every time Fizzle or Egon asks to play.
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time. A long time.
I'm so confused.
For me, I'm a defender of the modern Star Wars Jedi series of games, and as for this one, it's a pretty fun game, but not much better than the original. The combat is still fluid and takes heavy inspiration from Dark Souls. The enemy variety is alright, but not enough for me personally. Honestly, what bothers me the most is waiting to give me the better ultimate ability until the last roughly 2 hours of f***ing gameplay. The story is more audacious and has a couple of interesting twists that make it more interesting than its predecessor, but the ending is a bit underwhelming for me. It was way too f***ing rushed and feels just like a cheap ending to set up yet another sequel to this game, which is to be expected, of course. But otherwise, if you want to roleplay as a Jedi trying to save the galaxy from the impending threat of the Empire, this game is pretty fun.
Eventually, truckers are going to be replaced by robots.
That's going to be sad, isn't it?
No.
Are the robots also going to get robot hands and
yes,
eat robot tuna?
And that'll be robot rest stops and the whole deal. Yeah.
I gotta back up.
Will we be able to go there?
Yes. If you'd like a hand job from a robot, you just show up to the robot rest stop.
Yeah, but she's going to crank, like, the robo cranker is going to crank your off because it's ready for like a metal wang and you're coming in there with your fleshy bits?
Not only am I mad that I love this game, but I'm also incredibly embarrassed about how many hours I dumped into it. I bought this game for $2 entire just for the meme, and the entire time while playing it, I kept thinking, why the f am I having fun with this? It's kind of a weird fantasy to want to be a trucker because of how lackluster the lifestyle presents itself, but this game is pretty deep for some odd reason. It's honestly a tragic accident for providing me with one of the weirdest hyperfixations I've ever had in my entire life. I had a great time running convoys with my friends and still actively play this game to this day on late Discord nights.
Fix it in the yard. Yeah, fix it in the yard. Fix it in the yard. Oh, fix it in the yard.
No, baby, no! Ah! No! Ah! I got double babied.
This may be an instance where my survival horror bias will show itself, but you can't tell me that this game isn't amazing. Beautifully horrifying and masterfully captures the gameplay and story that gripped those who played it years ago. The plasma cutter still feels so great and the monsters are still unique and scary. Speaking of uniqueness, I still love how this game stands out from other games that exist in this genre. Isaac isn't some hardened combat professional. He's just an engineer. You're not trying to headshot every enemy, you want to take out their limbs. I just wish that EA didn't kill the series just to revive it and sell it to my dumbass for full price, but unfortunately, I had a lot of fun playing this. It's pretty much tradition for me to put a game that Voyen got me on the list, and this year's game was We Love Katamari Reroll. It was a very random game for me to play this year, but I did love this game for how unabashedly bizarre it is. This game never takes itself seriously until it decides to take itself very seriously. The music is quirky, the gameplay is goofy, everyone talks in record scratches, and this motherfucker is never satisfied with what I do. So it's pretty accurate to a real dad. The controls aren't exactly tight, and sometimes this game is just sensory f***ing overload with all the sounds and colors that are on the screen at all times, but it's a decidedly fun game, and absolutely worth the $10 to $15 you'll spend on it.
Yo! Ah!
When the Nintendo Direct premiered with this trailer, I thought it looked cute in concept, but kinda looked past it until the game received rave reviews from fans and critics. This is what indie games should always strive to be. Sure, it takes some incredibly heavy inspiration from its Dark Souls counterpart, but at this point, Souls-like is just a new genre. I was afraid this game would hold your hand for being marketed for kids, but it was pretty difficult at points, and that's something I appreciated. The story is pretty deep and has a great environmental theme that pairs really nicely with the game's visuals. You'll travel along the ocean floor and see paradoxical versions of everyday items that at first you'll laugh at, but then come to realize how damaging humans are to the environment and immediately change your entire perspective on life. I'd also like to praise the soundtrack, which has a wide range of sounds from calming to epic to Pharrell-inspired track? God, this song is so f***ing good. It's probably gonna end up on my Spotify Wrapped this year. This game will go down in history as Indie Peak, and is my second favorite indie game I played this year. The first being...
I am not going up there.
I'm not going out there.
I'm definitely... Oh.
Sorry, bro.
2 weeks from retirement.
I have never seen a game take the internet by storm in the same way that Helldivers 2 did. I made a video on Helldivers 2, which is the worst performing video on my channel, but with some of the most multiplayer fun I've had with a game. This game is a democratic war fantasy, which sounds toxic until you realize everyone came together as brothers and sisters in arms to play this game. It weirdly reminded me of how everyone came together when Animal Crossing New Horizons came out. Except this game was fun. The mechanics of this game are so beautifully different from any multiplayer game I've ever played. From the Mortal Kombat fatality stratagem system, to the deep upgrade systems, to the intense loadout customizations, this game has a massive variety of ways to fight bugs and bots with your fellow comrades. I also love how this game plays into a fun role-playing game where you fight for the idea of American freedom, often by sacrificing yourself for the cause. Unfortunately, you can't talk about Helldivers 2 though without talking about the flaws, and most of them come from their ugly father Sony, who required players to connect a PSN account to play, which then cut out a good chunk of the player base. This would eventually kill the game, and a lot of players haven't returned. But ignoring that, I can't blame the devs themselves for this. They made a great f***ing game, but got f***ed by Sony. As a newcomer to the Yakuza series, I was interested to see how the game would continue to refresh the games down the road, considering there are 8 mainline games and several spin-offs. But Yakuza 2 is a great addition to the series. I think I like 2 better than 1, but not as much as I like 0. I really like the leveling system, and honestly I think it's the best one yet, but the minigame selection is the weakest yet. I like the battling and how quick and snappy it is, but I think this is the worst batch of heat actions so far. So while there are lots of positives, there are some negatives. As for the story, I didn't start to connect to the story until the end, but I think this had one of the most satisfying and campy endings to the series yet. But grievances aside, I just can't help by being compelled by the series. I don't know what it is about angry Japanese men, but goddammit, the series has me by the balls, and I will continue through each Yakuza game until I'm fully caught up. I recently talked about my experience with this game in my last video, and a hefty chunk of you are here from that video, so thank you, but you're probably familiar with my feelings on this. I'd love to give a major shout out to Fizzle again for truly understanding my survival horror bias. If you like this, or this, or this, you will go absolutely ballistic for Silent Hill 2. This is genuinely the single scariest game I've ever played, and I f***ing loved every second of it. The game wore me down mentally. It was a struggle with every discovery, learning that maybe I'm the villain. What I did was wrong. And now I have to wrestle with that feeling. I have to move on. I have to live with my sins.
In my restless dreams, I see that town. You promised you'd take me there again someday. But you never did. Silent Hill?
Play this game right f***ing now. I know I'm late to the party on this one, but the reception of this game was so verbose that I couldn't help but try it out for myself. Being my first Soulsborne game, I had expectations of getting murdered by everything and struggling so much that I would just forget about the game. But that's what this game is all about. Persistence. You're gonna get destroyed. You're gonna die and go, yeah, that was some fucking horseshit. And you know what? It probably was horseshit. But when you finally beat that ass boss that has stumped you for 2 hours, you feel like a god amongst men. The lore of this game is so deep, and you will likely miss a lot of it, and that's by design. This game doesn't spoon-feed you with objectives, map markers, or hand-holdy tutorials. It opens the doors and says, go. I fucking loved it, and I can't wait to sink my teeth into the DLC that I finally got. Every second of this game, except for this one, was an absolute treat, and if you want to play this game, please don't give up, because you're likely robbing yourself of one of the most gameplay-driven experiences you'll ever have.
Rise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live. The call of long-lost race.
I mean, at least make it out of Limgrave for fuck's sake. I want to end this video on a sappy note. Genuinely, I wanted to say thank you for 1,000 subscribers. I seriously thought I would never see the day, and I'm super thankful that even 5 of you care enough about what I have to say to watch my videos. It means a lot, and I really encourage you to stick around because I am absolutely not done yet. Now, with that all out of the way, I'd like to quickly just tell you about some things I've been working on the side so that if you're interested, you know where to find them. Firstly, I've been involved with a bunch of collaborative projects this year. One that I think people will like is Bumble Cat, which, yes, is a horrendous name, but the content is fantastic, and it's been a blast playing games with my friends. But the project I've been most excited about is my podcast, Play for Play, which has been my personal baby. Voyan and I have been working hard on this to make it a great watch and listen for everyone, so if you want extra unscripted Kyler 360 and Voyan content, that's a great place to go. And I think that's everything. Huge thank you all again. I love you. Cheers.